Okay, so I started at the top and I actually got partway into the highlights already. Um, so what you want again, you want kind of a nice thin paint with your white and some water. You want it to flow out nice. I am having a really hard time keeping this thin and or fine enough of a line for this, for this scale because we are working on such a um, small piece. It's easier when I'm working on an actual full on scene painting project, but here we are. Um, so what I'm trying to do is again we're going brick to brick. Make sure you're skipping the mortars. I had a little problem with that up there. I lost track of where my bricks were, and I sort of ran over a couple of my spots. Had to clean them up, but it's not a big deal. So just painting in the at the very top of the brick. So I wanna hit that edge, but um, I don't want to get it into my mortar gap if I can help it. Um, I'll put a little more white in my highlight here. I'm afraid that in some of these spots it's a little bit subtle. Um, and this is where if you've got a really nice thin brush, um, makes life a lot easier. Uh, even the scene painting brushes that we use in the theater, I usually try to try to grab some very thin um, art brushes for doing highlight because even a small lining fitch I find is sometimes a little heavy for this sort of thing. So that's a little heavier, a little easier to see there. So now I'm starting with the verticals. So remember, they're going to be hitting on the left side of that brick, the left nose of that brick. So now it's just a matter of coming down and making sure that I'm uh, again only hitting the bricks that I need to be hitting. Um, Sometimes I'll find that how how I'm reloading my brush starts to make a pattern. Um, I'll find that I'm getting a lot of hot highlights at the top and then they taper off at the bottom. I can actually use that variation of the brush losing its paint to my advantage. Oh, got that one wrong. Um, and so I'll sometimes go back and then I'll do the bottom and then I'll pick one further up and then come back and I'll just bounce them around a little bit to help create that randomness. As long as I don't pick up my ruler in between, nothing wrong with that. Um, so still struggling a little bit with the thickness of these lines. I could use a thinner brush or to be working on bigger bricks, but here we are. So I'm making sure that where I'm putting the line is actually on the left side of the brick and not on the right side of the brick across from it, because I don't want to have this be don't want to start getting my shadows confused because that then you lose your illusion. This is my last set, so I'll do this one quick and then I'm gonna just box this out with some black around it so you can kind of see how it looks when it's not being held in by everything else. I've got the edges over here, so I'm going to put some highlight down these. They actually look like they belong. All right. Yeah, it didn't turn out too bad. Some of those highlights that I thought were too hot are starting to chill out as they dry. So I'm going to come through and pull up some of my black paint and just quick hash in an edge here. So kind of finish it off. All right, so that's about what it should look like. So you guys can go ahead and continue with your highlights, and if you have questions, let me know. If not, that's where this project ends.